All right, good morning, traders. I want to welcome you to a brand new trading day and also a brand new month. Welcome to the month of April 2026. I tell you, the first 3 months of the year, we're amazing. That's the first quarter. Now we're in the second quarter of the year. Like I always ask my students, what has been your trading results? Have you been making money? Have you been profitable? Were you profitable the first quarter? If not, then we can guide you to becoming profitable this second quarter. All right, so let's get started. So today I'm going to be looking at the following instruments. I'll be looking at the dollar index, I'll be looking at gold, I'll be looking at a USDCHF and USD card. There are amazing setup, forming on this instrument that can guide, that can bring about course of today and the rest of this week, and even possibly this month of April. So let's get started. Now, earlier on Monday, I gave my outlook on the dollar index and I said I was bearish on the dollar index for this week. And that has been proven to be right because right here on the daily time frame, I marked this zone on Monday. We have a resistance, valid resistance level on that area. Price hit the resistance level multiple times, and then between Monday and now, price eventually equally entered that resistance zone. And yesterday, price also made another move by forming a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. Now, a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern is that the small green candle and the bigger red candle by the side. That is what is called a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. Now, if you want to learn about candlesticks and the patterns they form that can help us, identify market direction by joining my mentorship program. This is the month of April. We're having a mentorship session this month, and you don't want to miss it. You want to know how to trade and become profitable. So you can just go ahead, you can reach out to me, click the link somewhere around this video. You find a link to my Telegram channel and to my WhatsApp contact. You may reach out to me privately for mentorship. All right, let's continue. Now, I tell you on Monday that I am bearish. I said it categorically that I am bearish on the dollar index, and I've been proven to be right. If you were part of the Monday analysis where I said that, you can comment in the comment section and say, yes, I was there. Now you can see it. The setup is getting clearer. The dollar is getting weaker, and there are a lot of fundamental events today. We're expecting core retail sales, ADP non-farm employment change. These are fundamental events. If they come out bad for the dollar, just like we're saying technically, then that will lead to a further bearish movement on the United States dollar. So get ready. We are going to be selling the dollar. We are bearish on the dollar index. Now, the dollar index is that instrument that controls whatever happens to the dollar, which also affects the major currency pairs like the Euro USD, the AED USD, the NZD USD, the GBP USD, the USD CHF, the USD card. They are all controlled by the dollar index. The dollar index tells us what happens to them next. So I'm bearish on the dollar. Now, being bearish on the dollar here means I'm looking at bearish opportunities strictly on the USD CHF, the USD card, and the USD JPY. While the anti-dollar pairs like the Euro and the GBP USD, AUD, NZD, they are expected to go in the bullish direction. So let's look at what is happening now to the USD CHF and the USD card. So let me search out the USD CHF and the USD card. All right. So this is the USD CHF. From my analysis on Monday, I remember mentioning that I'm expecting price to close a particular gap. Now that gap has been closed. Let me extend my trend line. So this is the USD CHF on the daily time frame. We can see here that price has been making a series of lower highs. We have a lower high, 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 down to this point where we ended up with a rejection candle for yesterday. But then there's still an inner setup to that also, which I'm going to show us. Now, what I do here is called top-down analysis. We'll look at the higher time frame for direction, and we'll look at the lower time frame for possible entries. So in this daily time frame, now there is now a confluence. A confluence means multiple reasons why we should look at either buying or selling. Now we saw a downtrend, very valid downtrend, and now we can see there is the downtrend also here. We have the rejection candle there. We have a resistance and a rejection candle. So this region here now becomes the confluence where trend line, trend line, the trend line, the resistance and the rejection candle, all of them met at that point. So we call it our confluence. All right, you can see it right there. Yeah, it's, you can see the circle, the ellipse is there to capture it. So that's a confluence. So from this point, we are going to be looking for a bearish movement in the USDCHF going forward, because we have three valid reasons to look for a sell. We saw the downward moving trend line, the resistance. Now with the downward moving trend line, that shows that the overall trend is bearish. With a resistance, we are bearish. With a rejection candle, we are equally bearish. So three reasons why we are looking for a bearish movement on the USDCHF on the daily time frame. Again, I said it's top down analysis. If you enjoy this analysis, just go ahead and drop yes in the comment section, or you can drop a fire emoji. If you're there live right now watching, you're enjoying this analysis, go ahead and tap in the comment section, type a yes, type or drop a fire emoji so that I can know you are following with what I'm doing. All right, let's make some progress. So next thing now is I will now go to a lower time frame. We only get direction on the higher time frame. Entry is always done on the lower time frame. Now on the lower time frame this time around, we're coming to a 4-hour time frame. That's a swing. So here I have a perfect looking rising wedge pattern. A rising wedge pattern is a bearish reversal chart pattern. It signifies reversal from uptrend to downtrend. All right. So now, how do we make entry on this? I'll show us just now. Now, anticipate that price may drop here, retrace, then break out. That's my outlook on the USDCHF. We may have a slight bullish retracement before the final breakout happens. But notwithstanding, the overall trend is bearish. The overall trend is bearish. But within the main trend, there is usually going to be a retracement. So we're expecting the possibility of that retracement also to happen, before we have the final bearish breakout. So I'm bearish on the USDCHF. And if I look closely also in this bearish setup, I'm also seeing possibly, it all depends on market condition, possibly the formation of a shoulder, a head, a second shoulder, and finally a breakout. But generally, we are only looking for a breakout when price breaks below the lower trend line. That's what gives the validity for our final bearish breakout. So we're very, very bearish on the USDCHF. And I want you to take note of that. And so in the course of today and even maybe Friday when we're having FP, if the data from the United States comes out bad for the dollar, that will trigger, and further move price in the bearish direction on this instrument, exactly as analyzed. All right, next is the USD card. And as same way I'm bearish on the dollar index, I'm bearish on the USDCHF. You can see by my analysis on Monday, I've been bearish on the USD card since the beginning of the week, and it's playing out just like I said. Now that USDCHF is actually a swing, it's a swing setup. But let's look now at the USD card. So for the USD card, price also has been in an overall downtrend. You can see the trend line moving downwards. I've marked the lower highs. Now there is equally a support. There's a valid support right there. Now let me zoom out. Okay. Now you can see now price touched the trend line. The sorry, resistance, not support, resistance, and there is a rejection candle. So again, the point where all of them meet is called a confluence. See, always identify your confluence zone where everything lines up. Because from this confluence zone now, the next thing is we're expecting a movement into the proposed direction, which is bearish in this case. All right. So you can see the confluence where the trend line, the resistance, and the rejection candle all meet. So technically, we're bearish on the USD card. Now we can look for our entry again on a lower time frame. Like I said, this is called top-down analysis, looking for direction on the higher time frame and the entry on the lower time frame. If you enjoyed this video, drop a comment in the comment section. If you want to learn top-down analysis, type yes in the comment section too. Now, for the USD card, we can see the confluence zone. I still marked it. It's still very valid up there. That's from the region. We're expecting a breakout. Like I said, the overall trend is bearish, but we're not just going to trigger a sell straight away like that. No. Now, all things being equal, I'm seeing here we may have the possibility of a shoulder, a breakout, then finally a breakout to the downside. That's the potential path I see price taking. But then we should also know that we have a neckline right here. Now, according to the rule of head and shoulder, price needs to break out below the trend line before we can, sorry, below the neck before we can trigger a sell. Now, this particular one can work either as a swing and even possibly as a 1 hour. That's an intraday. So I'm flipping over now to the 1 hour. So in case you're there, you're a day trader, you're wondering if you are left out in this party. No, you are not. We are putting you into consideration. So you can see the same setup is still applicable on the 1 hour. We only need price to break out below the lower trend line, that's the neckline, to trigger a sell. So in the course of today, watch this closely. We are very, very bearish on the USD. So we're bearish on the dollar index, we're bearish on the USDCHF, we're bearish on the USD card. Watch it, and watch it closely. And like I said earlier, the news from today could trigger this bearish movement. If the data all comes out bad from the dollar, because today we're having only news from the United States. So it's the US dollar, it's the day for the dollar. If all news event comes out bad, we will see a massive crash. If not, we may just see the retracement that I mentioned, and later on, we will still see the crash. But then overall, our trend is a bearish trend on the USD card. All right, next I want to look at now is gold. I want to look at gold. Now you're there, you're a gold trader. Yes, it's time to check gold. All right. So what is happening to gold? Yesterday, Monday thereabout, I gave outlook of a possible breakout on gold, which has already happened. So let's clean off all this. If you're there, you're not subscribed to this channel, you're missing out. Go ahead and click subscribe. Don't just watch the video. Click the subscribe button, subscribe. And you can take it a step further. For more tips and signal, go to my Telegram channel. You see the link around this video also. All right, so this is gold. Now, gold is a lot driven by fundamental at this time, but then we can still spot some technical setup. Now, on the 4 hour time frame, I'm seeing a downtrend. And a resistance. In fact, I would say a support turned resistance. Now, with this kind of setup, I want to confirm. Okay, price touched the trend line 2 times. All right. So this point now becomes our confluence. All right, where the trend line, the support on resistance meets. But then two things could happen at this point. Price could price could break out to the upside, possible, or break out to the downside. Why the upside? Technically, the dollar is bearish. And when the dollar is bearish, gold could be bullish. Though there are exceptions once in a while, but technically that could happen. Price could break out to the upside. But then let's look at the downside for instance, because like I said, there are exceptions. There are times that thing doesn't work like that. Okay. So it could be rare, but it happens. Now on the gold, I'm seeing here possibly a head, a shoulder, a head. Okay, I need to redraw that. Okay, I think I need to zoom out first. Good. Shoulder, head, second shoulder might form and a breakout. Now, if the USDCHF and the others will have a retracement, like I said, overall they are bearish. But if they could go bearish, bullish slightly, then gold as well could go bearish on a purely technical perspective. You can draw a trend line here, to expect a breakout. So it's possible we might get a bearish breakout. That's possible. But at this point, it's equally a critical one because since gold dollar is bearish, price could as well break out to the upside. So any of these two could happen. So you get ready for whichever one happens. If price breaks out below this box, below the neckline, yes, you may trigger a sell on gold. So this box now remains, is now our zone. If price breaks out to the downside, you may take a sell. And the first type of sell you want to take is even a scalp, not the type you want to wait there all day, because we have a valid resistance here which can become a support. So price may just come and target that spot. Price may just come to target this spot and anything can happen from there. So we have a short term, possibly short term sell and a longer term buy, all things being equal. So again, as I recap on gold, price may break out to the downside if this pattern is formed, or if price breaks out generally, out of that range box, we may expect a bearish movement to this previous resistance turn support, or price may outrightly break out to the upside because of a weak dollar. Any of it is possible. So just watch out for those two setup on gold for today. All right. Okay, I have a couple of other instruments I want to show us, which I'm seeing a good setup on them. And we'll look at the NZD and the CAD JPY. Then we call it a day. Okay, I'm not seeing the NZD Okay, I found it. All right, I tell you, there's a very, very good setup that's forming on this one. All right, so this is the NZD Let's start our analysis from the daily time frame. Again, This is top-down analysis. If you're enjoying this analysis session, drop the fire emoji. Just drop it, encourage me, drop it. All right, so we draw our trend line. So you can clearly see the trend is bullish. Higher low, higher low, and a third higher low, which ended up as a rejection candle yesterday. A support and a rejection candle, which is acting as our confluence. All right, so we're expecting a breakout to the upside from here. Okay, so we're expecting the breakout to the upside from here. So we can go to a lower time frame like 4 hour. Okay, now I think we might get something clear on the 1 hour. So let me go down a little to the 1 hour. Good, it's clear on the 1 hour. Okay, so let me just get another of that confluence, the ellipse. All right, so that's our confluence point where we have everything lining up: the trend line, the support, and the rejection candle on the daily time frame. So you can see the arrow here. We are looking for a breakout to the upside. Now, how do I see price going from here? I still see a bullish movement, but then I'm seeing the formation possibly of a shoulder, a head. Now, this is where I see it is going to happen. We may see a downward movement first before to complete the second shoulder before the breakout to the upside finally happens. So I'm bullish on the NZDJPY on the 1 hour time frame. So how do we know when to trigger a buy? There is a neckline here. Price needs to break out above that neckline region to trigger a buy on the NZDJPY. So we're very bullish on the NZDJPY on the 1 hour time frame. And finally, I'll look at the card JPY. All right, now this is a bit unique in its own way. Oh, I got a lot of previous setup here, so let me just delete them. All right. So look at the card JPY on the daily time frame. Why do we always check the higher time frame first? Because the higher time frame can give us the overall direction. What's going on? Okay, so what's happening to the daily? Okay, all right. Okay, so this is the daily time frame. We first identify the trend. What's the trend? Trend simply is direction. And we have this saying in trading that the trend is your friend. Okay, that's okay. This lines up better. Good. So we can see here we have our direction set, a lower high, a lower high, and price touched the lower high the third time yesterday. So technically, we're going to be looking out for a breakout to the upside today. That's the overall direction. We only trade in the direction of the trend. So here we'll flip straight to 1 hour for possible entry. Now we don't have any support on this one, but then there is a support. It's just a 1 hour support. So we still have our confluence either ways. And we don't have a rejection candle also, but then we have a pattern. I spotted the pattern. All right. So we have a support here, like I said. We have our support on the 1 hour, and I'm seeing the formation of what looks a lot like a double bottom pattern, a W pattern, which will trigger a breakout to the upside. Also, I'm seeing the formation of a falling wedge. Now, the neckline of that double bottom will be this point here. So in the course of today, if price breaks out above the neckline, we are looking for a buy on the card JPY. And this is purely a 1 hour setup. And I want you to look at this very, very closely in the course of today. All right. With this, I've come to the end of the analysis for this morning. If you enjoyed this analysis, just go ahead and click the like button. This video has been insightful. I've looked at, let me do a recap. I looked at the dollar index. I said I'm bullish, sorry, I'm bearish on the daily time frame, with after the formation of a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. I'm bearish on the USDCHF on 4 hour. I'm bearish on the USD card on both the 1 hour and 4 hour. For gold, gold is in a position where we can either look for a buy or sell, but then I support a short-term sell and a longer-term buy. I'm bullish on the NZD JPY on 1 hour, and I'm bullish on the CAD JPY on 1 hour. If you want entries to this setup, you can join my Telegram channel. You see the link somewhere around this video. And if you want mentorship, just chat me up on my WhatsApp. The number is there. Just click it and save it and send a chat on WhatsApp. My mentorship program for April kicks off, by today. So just join, be a part of the mentorship. Okay, I'll see you again some other time, possibly on Friday for another live analysis session. Trade safe and enjoy the rest of the day. Bye for now.